Namaste. How is everybody doing? Feeling good? Learning a lot? I was in no mood to come up here and start talking about something because I was deeply engaged in listening to the masters, and it was so beautiful to just sink in and listen from the silence that they created. But sorry to bring you back to this rude awakening. They are taking you with this heavenly escalators in different abode, but I'll have to bring you back to the ground reality once in a while. But bear with me. We'll talk a little bit more about this very interesting concept about the gateways of perception. I'd like to start with a Shanti mantra that we often recite. Om Bhadram Karnebhish Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemaksha Bhirya Jatra Sthirairangai Sushtuvasastanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayu. Om Swastina Indro Vruddha Shravaha Swastina Pusha Vishva Vedaha Swastina Staraksho Arishtanemihi Swastino Brihaspati Ardhatu. The reason why I bring this up is even the prayer simply says, let my ears hear all the good things in the world. Let my eyes see goodness in everything. Let my senses ingest goodness from every experience. If that is the prayer, with a clear understanding that these experiences that we have in our day-to-day world and life, they are not just mere experiences. There's an Ayurvedic term for food, diet, called as ahara. And the word ahara doesn't only mean food, it simply means ingestion. Diet in Ayurveda is often defined as something what you take in from any field of perception, from any mode of intellect. That is diet. What goes in? It creates who you are. I jokingly say that the funniest sentence in medicine is for external application only. There is no such thing. Everything goes in. And everything goes in through these gateways of perception. And what we are learning here is these perception creates reality of what you have, how you perceive, and what you see in the world. What we know from current modern medicine, that the world has limitation. Your body is not a static process, it's a dynamic process. It is shedding, the cells are dying to keep you alive. It is a constant process that is happening, that is constantly interacting. Intelligence with Mother Nature at every point in time, whether you're awake or deeply asleep. It's a process. And if that is a process, how do you participate in that process? That's question number one. The second is, if it is an energy and information field, everything boils down. Even food is information. Everything is energetic in nature. Every experience that we have has certain energy which interacts with the energy in our body. When we use the lingo of doshas, vata, pitta and kapha, it's just energy. It's the energy of every experience affect the core being, the tissues and the cells of our physiology. Even at a genetic level, we used to say that the genes are deterministic, but we know for sure they are not. You can reprogram your genes, you can turn them on, you can turn them off, you can regulate them by your epigenetic experience. And as we know, and as we have heard this many times, that the time is a man-made construct. It is not that is there. It is something we have created. We have learned how to divide time in date, place, times, calendars, iCal, and so forth and so on. But if we don't change our awareness and relationship with time, then we are at a loss. So we need to really understand these core concepts of Ayurveda as we go and understand the sensory experience. And these some eminent scientists have said beautiful things which are purely Vedantic in nature. Albert Einstein said there are only two ways to live your life. One is nothing is miracle, and the second as if everything is miracle. Think about it for a moment. What you're seeing when you look at this majestic ocean or the mountain peaks, that beauty that you're seeing is created by your sensory experience. It is nothing that is going in your brain or your eyes or anything. It is created by you. And how fascinating that is. It's nothing short of a miracle that you are creating a reality for yourself, which is completely species specific. Is that right? What you are seeing, maybe a butterfly may not see, a snake may not see, or an elephant may see completely differently. And millions of species having millions of different worlds and experiences, because what we know from the scientific perspective, as John Akel says, that there is no color in natural world, no sound, no texture, no pattern, no beauty, no scent. And we still perceive all of this and keep ourselves busy all life long. Is that right? What you're doing, you're just busy experiencing through the senses all life long, since the time you're born till the time you're gone. Nothing else. Your full-time job is to be a bonded labor of your own senses. It's an illusion, it's the Maya that they create, that you understand that this is real. And when I was listening to these masters, it's so difficult to really understand, because what Swamiji was talking was all Anadi, Ananta, Nirvikar, Nirguna. Impossible. Someone that with my mind and with my sensory faculty, to wrap my mind around something has no beginning, no end, no qualities, and still use my petty little mind to take it there to wrap and unravel something that it has no clue. Difficult, but yes, I'm using and sharpening my tool of mind to experience that. And then Mataji came along and she gave a complete different expression. Is that right? Which is completely saguna, sakar, embodied, deity, form, name, noun, everything like that. Is that right? It may sound two contrast scenarios, but they are meant for two different kind of people in some way. Is that right? If you can't really do that, then do this. But they are both taking us to the same path. Health, sensory experiences, they are all dependent upon your inner and outer world, as we say. Your body is a dynamic activity, and what you're seeing, that non-change amidst all the change that is happening. Experiencing non-change amidst everything that is changing, shifting, swirling, moving around all the time. Your bahiranga, your outer life that you perceive through your senses, sound, touch, sight, smell, your sleeping, waking, breath, nutrition, metabolic function, nature, universe, everything that your senses can grasp. Within the confinement of your sensory organs and sensory faculties, that you are doing what you are seeing and what you are becoming. From the sthula sharira perspective, but what you go inside, the dynamic activity of seemingly non-change, what is going on inside is also the antaranga, which is coming from the senses, the experience that they create, the memories that they create, the feelings, thoughts, emotions that they are evoking. Is that right? Because everything gets stuck in the carpet of your body for ages together. It simply doesn't go away. It doesn't go away because the inner life is filled with your thoughts, emotions, memory, desire, imagination, creativity, intuition, whatever you want to call it. And how do you balance these outer and inner worlds? Your inner world, your subconscious mind depends upon your conscious reality of your life. And the expression of you living the conscious world depends upon your subconscious mind and reactions to what you do and how you respond to anything else. So this metabolization of the experience comes from this very deep understanding that your body is not just a bunch of cells and tissues coming together, or a bunch of sensory organs with a state of mind that is giving you an experience. We have to deeply understand and figure out a way to unlayer that. And we usually use these terms called Sthula Sharir, Sukshma Sharir, and Karan Sharir. Sthula Sharir is something visible. As Swamiji was saying, this is the nose. You can see, feel, touch, bones, muscles, tissues, tendons, ligament, the skin-capsulated ego, as we like to call it, doshas, dhatus, malas in Ayurveda. You can take a clip, send a sample for biopsy, saliva, urine, hormones, this and that. We can calibrate. That you can see, maybe under microscope or physical reality of your life. That's the Sthul Sharir. The Sukshma Sharir, which is stacked just underneath that carpet of the gross body, or the Sthul Sharir, is your Sukshma Sharir, is the subtle body. And the subtle body has your mind, your feelings, your sensory perceptions, sensation, images, feelings, and thoughts that are stuck into your body, not only from this lifetime, even from the previous lifetime that you brought it with you. Because there are people who are naturally sattvic, there are people who are naturally rajasic, naturally tamasic, there are people who are very loving by nature, there are people who are not so loving by nature. So something has created their state of mind that is ingrained even before they are born. Is that right? They are ingrained with their state of mind and their reactions in the world even before it happens karmically. From your parents and way beyond that. And much of the doshas that we talk about, is that right? Is coming from that nature, prakriti as we call it. The English word, actually procreation, comes from that Sanskrit word prakriti, which means creation or created with perfection. So everything that is set in stone, which is in here. So one is the physical body is a block to know what is going on in your mind and your senses. The second is your own mind and your own sensory experiences that block your ability to realize yourself. And there could be mind-body type, dosha type. You can blame it on your planets and lagnas and nakshatras and God knows what. But the reality is, yes, we are all messed up in our own ways. And that challenge is very difficult to sort it out. And when someone tells us to close our eyes and start meditating and experience that this is the state of consciousness where nothing is born, nothing is gone, you are the totality, you are the Brahman and everything, and experiencing that thing will have to cleanse and purify these malas, impurities. Sthula malas and the sukshma malas. They have to slowly lighten up by practice, by sadhana, in order for you to effortlessly dive in to your reality of the Karan Sharir itself. And the blockage often comes from your own gateways of perception, which are the sensory pathways. The word indriya, root word indriya, comes from Indra itself, which is the presence of mind and the consciousness, because as we heard today, that the senses don't see anything or hear anything. It is the mind which connects the senses. And even the mind cannot do anything on its own until there is a witnessing awareness behind it, which provides it the light. So if the connection is consciousness with your intellect and your mind and your sensory organs, then connecting that dot is so important. Even when you want to learn something, even if you want to unlearn something, even if you want to control and regulate your own state of mind, because everything that goes in, there was a beautiful book that was written not long ago, which was called as Molecules of Emotions. Molecules of emotions not only means that certain molecules give rise to certain emotions, but it also means certain emotions give rise to certain molecules which can make you feel good or bad. Is that right? When we say Pitta people are naturally angry, grumpy, irritable, they create heat and inflammation because of their thought process and vice versa. So the mind affects the body affects the mind. And how do you sort this puzzle? Is through the spiritual experience, and you can minimize those things. But Ayurveda has simplified this even further. And this is phenomenal to even think about it. That there are 5 Mahabhutas of space, air, fire, water, and earth. All these 5 Mahabhutas are one-on-one correlated to 5 sensory organs, what we call it as ear, skin, eyes, tongue, and nose. And the tanmatras, the qualias, the subtle qualities that you experience through the sensory faculties. Every experience, every knowledge, everything that you have done in your life is ingested through your senses first, with your tanmatras first. But the one thing that we are learning here, that these sensory organs are simply one-on-one correlated with your motor organs, what we call it as karmendriya. So there are 5 jnanendriyas and 5 karmendriyas. And the only connecting link between both of this is your mind, which is called as ubhayendriya or ekadashindriya. And this 11th sensory organ connects your ears with vocal cords. Is that right? Think about it for a moment. When we heard the mantra being chanted, it was a connection with your para, pashyanti, madhyama, vaikhari as sound, vocal cords, sound creating a transcending experience through your ears that you were able to listen in and transcend. And the Mahabhuta that was affecting it is Akasha. Is that right? Akasha is space. And we know that. Our body is nothing but just open, empty space. Vast. There is space everywhere. Bones, muscles, tissues, tendons, cells, intracellular space, extracellular space, spaces in between the atoms and subatomic particles. It's all vast space. So every sound that you say and you hear and you listen affects the Akasha and the space principle, which is the primal building block of your physiology. You connect the dot with skin with hands. Tremendously relaxing experience. Hands. Anybody experienced a massage, an Ayurvedic massage somewhere, a hot oil massage? Calms your vata down because regulates vayu, air. The principle of air, because these sensory experiences that you're having, touch, hug, all of those things are very powerful experience. Physical touch has a very calming, relaxing, assuring experience. That's what we do, is that right? One of the biggest challenge that happened during COVID was distance, isn't it? You can't shake hands, you can't hug anyone. And that distance created a lot of anxiety in a lot of people, and that anxiety is all vata. So this is a physical way to heal the body, heal the mind by using the senses and using the 5 sensory therapy that is the core basis of Ayurveda. So you use the sensation of touch, hands, even seva is a form that you are using your hands to do something. Feet related with your eyes, especially the soles of your feet, which is related with the Tejas Mahabhuta, related with your eyes. Massaging the soles of the feet, walking barefoot on the green grass, soaking your feet in cool water, everything cools down your eyes. Not only eyes, but the Tejas Mahabhuta, the heating principle in the entire physiology. Nasti chakshu samam tejam. There is no better light or heat or energy than your eyes or vision. So, putting drops in the eyes, whether it's ghee, whether it's honey, whether it's castor oil, all of those things Anybody experience putting castor oil in their eyes? Do it. I call them as eye openers. And very effective way, very effective way. Tongue and urogenital system. Think about it. Again, the sexual organ and the organ of taste, tongue, is intricately connected. Your tongue and the other boneless organ that we all know creates all the problems in the world. Is that right? Speech, food, and sex creates all the problems in the world. And all the ancient cultures have talked about maunam, abstinence, upavas, brahmacharya, as the way towards becoming close to godliness and divinity. Because you're controlling and regulating all of this easily and effortlessly. Your nose with anal opening. So when you come for panchakarma, we are giving you enemas, we are giving you basti, uttar basti, nasya, karnapurana, netra basti, gargling, whole body abhyanga, shirodhara, everything together. It's a 5 sensory therapy to heal, to tame your mind, to regulate and calm your mind. People, they call us, what are you doing for panchakarma? And I don't understand panchakarma. We just tell them, don't worry about it, come along. I'm going to punch the karma out of you. And the mind becomes calm. The mind becomes quiet because mind is the tool. Mana jnane bodhe. It is the tool. When it is directed inwards, it is yoga. Outward, it's bhoga, and bhoga will lead to roga, ultimately, no doubt about it. It's the tool for knowing, is the tool for perception. Without mind, the senses cannot do anything on their own. The retaining, the cataloging of the information, receiving vibrations from your sensory organs, everything is dependent upon your own state of mind, including karmendriya, the motor organs, the activity. Just to think that I can move my hand from here to here is from the state of mind. And it is so intricately connected, like my sound is coming to you or my words are coming to you. What do you hear first? What do you hear first? Do you hear the sound or do you hear the word? But there's no gap, there's no difference. It moves so quickly, as if you take a little incense stick and move it in the dark, you see circles. And the speed of the mind is electrifying. And the speed of this is manojavam marutatulya vegam. So the speed of mind is like this, and it controls atindriya and ubhendriya. And what we are creating now with all the speed of the internet, is that right? 3G, 4G, 5G, 6G is just increasing your own pace of mind. The technology, we were all happy with what? 56K modem a decade ago? Something is opening and you go, walk around, come back, 10, 15 minutes is still opening the file. Is that right? And the world was going on. Means the planes were in the air, the business were happening through faxes that we were sending. Everything was good. But as the speed increases, it is at the cost of the speed of your own mind that we are making our own mind more and more difficult. So the senses are becoming unstable with the speed of the mind. The qualities of the mind, it's not able to stay in one spot at one time. It's becoming so difficult for the mind to be grounded with the advent of social media, because every piece of information affects a stream of biological responses in your physiology. If you're opening your social media and someone is having a jolly good time in Bahamas, gosh, someone being happy there makes you unhappy here. And they have nothing to do with what is going on with you, but it is affecting your biochemical state because what emotion it is evoking. The mind, the speed of the mind, and the chit anu, as well as I said, It creates a molecular correlate to the state of mind. You're creating your mind with your experiences, with your ingestion of the food and everything. One of the good things that you're doing is we are having a banquet of this delightful food with the Swamis giving these discourses. And what we are learning, we are creating this information with our Shruti and the Smriti together, which becomes our pragya, intellect. And that intellect is going to help us prevent the challenges that we feel. Because how do we make decisions? And Ayurveda has given a beautiful way that how your mind slowly makes good decision. Willpower. How do you make a decision that is good for you? Chinte vicharya uyyam cha dheyam cha sankalpe mevacha yat kinchit mansad neyam tat sarva yartha saunakam. If you are to buy a car, then every car that is going here and there, you are thinking of buying a car. Then you start thinking a little bit, which is a little bit more serious thinking that I need to buy a car, and you need to get a car which is maybe electric, maybe hybrid, this, that. You are thinking. You are having a serious thought. Then you make a choice. You make a choice that I would like to get an electric car, the gas is too expensive. And then you create a dheya. You set a goal that I'm going to take this old car, go to the car lot, get a price for it and see if I can afford an electric car. And then you make a sankalpa, and then you convert the sankalpa into action. You give away your old car, you drive away with a new car with a nice 5-year mortgage for the new electric car that you got. But before you actually make that action, there is so much of process that is subconsciously going on. Sometimes it is easy to make that choices, and we jokingly say that a Vata mind, which likes to think and move and swirl in orbits, is so difficult for them to make a choice. If a Vata Pitta Kapha person goes to a restaurant, a Pitta person who is very direct, their mind is very sharp and clear, they won't even look at the menu and they say, number 7, this is what I come here, I like it, I get it. A Vata person, gosh, their mind is like busy bees. They are going to look at the menu, ask 10 questions to the servers. How do you prepare this? And where do you get this goat's milk? And what kind of cheese? Can you do this? Can you take this out? I don't like this. Can you make this? All kinds of funded things. The server is probably writing these down, rolling their eyes and really anxious about it. The Kapha person probably, he says, oh, do you like that food? Do you eat here every day? Maybe I will get the same what you want. They are good followers. And when the food comes, the Vata person looks at your plate, God, that looks really nice. Maybe I'll have that. You're blessed and cursed with these state of mind. Especially when I travel, I look around with what kind of person I'm sitting with. Because if, God forbid, if I'm sitting with a Vata person next to me, oh God. And they are chatting all the way along. They're telling you what they are going for, where they are going, and what they are expecting. And they're going to go and meet this family reunion, and that guy will be there. 10 years ago, they said something to them, and it was so rude of him to say something. Every little detail that you are not at all interested. And for the whole time of your flight, they are chatting and telling you, and you see them at the baggage claim, they won't even recognize you. They like to talk. They like to talk. They like to think. Their mind keeps on swirling, and they still remember who said what. That person has no clue that they said something good or bad to them, but this person is holding this grudge for such a long time and punishing themselves in their state of mind. Is the doshas which create their own state of mind, which create their own virtual reality, guys. Virtual reality. They live in this virtual reality. If Kapha person has a breakup, very challenging. They will stay in the past for a very long time. A Pitta person, if they have to go on a vacation, they'll plan hundreds of things. Is that right? You know those people what I'm talking about? They'll make the list. They will write down everything. They'll plan everything to the hours. Is that right? Like Swamiji did. Everything peculiar. Few minute break here. Couple of minutes here. Only 5 minutes from here to the yoga hall. Just do it everything. planned perfection. They like to get it done in a very organized manner. And God forbid if one thing goes wrong. Okay? Because it's difficult to work out the plan. But Kapha people are much more relaxed, easy. If it goes this way, this way. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Okay? They're much more relaxed. Means if you give them a promotion and tell them go to Nigeria and do this and that, they said, what? Means I grew up in this neighborhood, went to the same school, had a job here, and I'm planning to play golf with my buddies after retirement. So who wants to go there? Okay? I'm happy with what I have. So these doshas create a state of mind, and when we talk about your state of mind, every decision that you make depends upon your state of mind. How many meditators that we know, that you have come across? They're struggling with their doshas in their mind. They're struggling with the experiences, what they're having. Every time they close their eyes, they're confronted to their own radio stations, which is not always pleasant. There was an article in Atlantic recently that people would prefer electric shocks than be alone by themselves. If you are alone and feeling lonely, then you are definitely in a bad company. And how do you make yourself comfortable? How do you make yourself comfortable with your own thoughts? That is a fountainhead that is generating stream of thoughts constantly. Not all the thoughts contain tinge of emotions, but they do contain. And they do contain, the reason why I bring this up, because number one cause of every disease from an Ayurvedic perspective, threefold causes. Number one, asatmendriya artha sanyog, improper conjunction of your sensory organs with the subjects of the senses. Pragya parad, which is mistaken intellect, and the vagaries of time, parinama. So if these are the three causative factors of the disease, they did not blame any bacteria or virus or good food or bad food, nothing. These are the three causes of diseases. And the causes of the diseases that come from the state of your mind are related with overuse, underuse, and abuse. When you overuse any of your sensory organ, underuse or misuse or abuse is number one primary cause of the destabilization of your intellect, which ultimately leads to poor choices and decision, which can pave the name of the disease. You can have it. Is that right? Think about it. Even in Bhagavad Gita, I would say, is that right? Lord Krishna says, Dhyayato Vishayan Pusaha Sangasteshu Pajayate. Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Bhijayate. Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha Sammoha Smruti Vibhrama Smruti Bhamshat Buddhinasho Buddhinashat Pranashyate. So, if at all you are not taking good care of your senses, your mind is unable to discipline itself and control and regulate. There is a reason why these yogis go in a cave somewhere. Is that right? Not everybody is enlightened to be in Manhattan and still be enlightened. It's too much movement. Means most of us, we feel drained. You go to a mall and come back by the evening, you feel completely drained with too much of sensory bombardment. People go to minimize, run away from this to keep the senses as less jittery. The more quiet it gets, the more peaceful the mind feels. Because what you're looking at is what you feel. And that is the observer effect, if you may say. Because if you are indulging and allowing the mind, and this is a fact, is that right? Fulfilling your desires and creating new desires is becoming destabilizing your mental state. What is the number one addiction in this country? Shopping. Really made very easy now with anything. The other day, one of my patients actually showed me a photo of his garage with hundreds of unopened boxes in his garage. He says, my wife doesn't even remember what she has ordered. By the time it comes 2 days later, that has gone out of her mind completely. She doesn't even remember what she has ordered. So if a constant desire of this destabilizes your mind, then you want to control and regulate and minimize, because we can talk about sadhana, but if you are minimizing this and you are not able to sit down quietly, or do a japa, or do anything else, because the overuse, misuse, and abuse is the worst part, is that right? The bad things that you're listening. You're watching news all day long. Who is going to be happy with that? And you know those people what I'm talking about, is that right? They leave the television on in the night when they're trying to sleep. They can't function. If they're driving somewhere, and God forbid if they leave their phone somewhere. Fear, insecurity. The mind is becoming weaker and weaker and weaker because of all this. So you control and regulate senses by controlling your state of mind, your willpower, your dhriti, and your decision-making ability. So if you are minimizing the distraction to your mind and you are controlling your state of mind, the definition of pragyaparada is dhriti smriti vibhrashtaha karma yat kurute ashubham pradnya paradham tam vidyat sarva dosha prakopanam. It doesn't talk about pitta, kapha, vata disease. Every little thing will get aggravated. Dhi is your buddhi. If your discrimination, your understanding what is good for me and what is not good for me is not there, then who can help you? And we can't rely upon any medical system or doctor to tell you what is good for you or what is bad for you. They are going to fix you or give you a poison or cut you open when they can find a disease or circle an ICD code that makes them happy. But till that time, you are suffering. So buddhi is very important. The second most important is dhriti, your patience, your willpower. If you go to a yoga class, how do you feel when you come out of a yoga class? Fabulous, good, clear, light, you walk tall. And what will it take you to go again and do another yoga class? The same experience, is that right? If the same experience should teach you, and you are eating a bucket full of ice cream at 10 o'clock in the night, and you feel groggy, toxic, dull, heavy, sniffly next day, it should tell you and discourage you from doing that next time. And what is needed is whether you are self-referral enough to understand that how do I feel at a given moment all day long. I ate just now, how do I feel? I heard this, how do I feel? I did this, how do I feel? What is the thing where you are improving your willpower, your discipline, you're controlling and regulating your senses? Means it's not a coincidence that you see Lord Krishna holding the reins of those 5 horses and guiding Arjuna on the battlefield, because these 5 senses are taking your mind, your willpower, your intellect, everything for a ride. So if at all this affects your memory, where you are not able to even recollect what is good for me and what is bad for me. And trust me, we see so many patients every day. Their problem is these dhriti smriti vibhramsha. And there's very smart, literate people. They look at on the package of cigarette packet that this is injurious to my health, and they light up, take out the cigarette and light up and do the same thing. How many things that we know? By knowing, we know that they are not good for me, but we keep on doing it. Blue light exposure, late night awakening, so many things that we know that I should be doing this. Exercise, yes, I should be doing it, but I don't do it. This kind of food I should be eating, but I don't do it because I want to do something else. So it boils down to creating diseases because of mistaken intellect. And the third and the worst part is kala. Parinama. Kala, parinama is one of the biggest factor. I told you this morning that the seasons are created, the day and night are created. You are stuck with your physiology to respond to the cycles of day and night, whether you like it or not. And the moment is what is real. What happened yesterday, a moment ago, is gone, finished. Past is mystery, completely gone. What is going to happen, you really don't know. So there's a beautiful quote from Vidura, Gate shoko na kartavyam, bhavishyam naiva chintet vartamanena kalen vartayanti vichakshana. So how to live in the moment, that's number one. Secondly, the time is passing all the time. Is that right? As you're allowing your mind to connect with the time and you put the constraints of time on the state of your mind and narrow it down further and further and break it down with the man-made construct of time itself, you are creating more challenges and problems. We like to call it as moving away from time-bound awareness to a state of timelessness, where it feels still, quiet. When we ended the japa chanting, it felt really quiet. Is that right? So that time, she is reminding me of my time also, so I know that. It's important to be aware of the time-bound awareness to a state of timelessness, to go away from Kala to Mahakala. And the whole Ayurvedic concept of Kala. Time is devourer of everything. Everything comes and goes in and out of time itself. So respecting time, changing our relationship with time, and understanding what Swamiji said is connecting with the state of consciousness that never changes. It is eternal. It never moves. Doesn't have any qualities. No beginning, no end. Self-organizing. More importantly, it is non-local and causal. And everything that we see emerging properties out of consciousness is what we are grasping, and we are trying to transcend them. And the appearance of the world with our perceptual apparatus that we need to learn to not to take that way too seriously. Very difficult, but all the exercise that we are learning is to understand that the mind and matter are experienced in your cognitive and perceptive space itself. And every experience is 100% illusion. Whatever you experience is not real. And that not real is because of the fluctuations of the vrittis of the mayas. So connecting with something that is permanent and real is the journey towards enlightenment. And health is a byproduct of enlightenment. Namaste.